How's it going, everybody? I wanted to show you guys something today that is not World Chalice, surprisingly. I've been playing lots of Generators lately, and I've been having a ton of fun with the deck. I think it's really interesting, the field spell and the mechanics of the deck, getting summon out super big monsters every single turn, every single time your opponent draws, feels real good. So I've been building this deck. I've gotten it how I like it, I think. And I got first place at locals with it recently that I just took it to. But I did add in a few new things that definitely make the deck a lot better, but they are not the most budget. So if you want to cut those, you don't have to play with them. You can still get first at your locals without them. But they are fun, and I do want to talk about them. I do think that they make the deck better, so that's why I went ahead and added them in. I would have had to proxy at the tournament, so that's why I didn't play it at the tournament, obviously. But I want to go ahead and get right into it. So first off, we got the 3 Generator Lobster. He's the new guy from Eternity Code. There's one other new guy, but I'll get to him when I get to him. He's the Tribal Lone Fire, I guess you could say, but he also raises your Generator's attack by 1,000 defense, which is surprisingly relevant. 1,000 attack and defense is a lot. They make the tokens, for example, 2,500, so you're just, your field spells basically says summon as many dark magicians as possible every single turn, I guess is a cool way of looking at it. But he is an automatic 3-of because he's the only normal summonable generator, and he can get you your boss stage immediately just by attributing himself and summoning Mardell, who we have next. I like 2 Mardell because I always draw Mardell next to a Lone Fire, and you can't use Mardell and Lone Fire at the same time. So I like 2. Also, I think it's personally reasonable to assume that if you have a deck as grindy as this one, that you might want to search twice in a game. And I don't want to waste my Hellas on Mardells. That's just silly. You can run more than one. But if you are on a budget, it is the most expensive generator, I think. I'm pretty sure, because it was super short printed. So you can get away with one, especially if you are lucky, unlike me. I got Hella to help with that grind game, and it is super adorable with the zombie rank 9 that revives from graveyard as well. So I play 2 of her to help reuse generators. It's pretty easy to go through all of your horrors, all of your Ugardas real fast. So Hella can help you keep on reviving them from the grave. And she has a big booty of 2,800. So it is not very easy to beat over, especially if you have Lobster on the field, giving her 1,000 defense. The next new guy from Eternity Code we got is Har, and he is super outstanding. I think that they probably actually went a bit too far with him, but the deck's actually playable now, so I guess the deck needed it or whatever. But he has 3,000 attack and defense. That's bigger than pretty much any attack or defense value on any generator card except for the fire one. And he also loops cards out of your opponent's hand, and he also is an Omni-Negate. So super overloaded, you're basically summoning him every single time because you want to end on him. He's like your most powerful card outside of like Calamities for opponent interaction. So I do run 2 of him. You could probably run 3 if you wanted to, but I cut 3 so that I can run 2 of this guy. Banishing is at an all-time premium right now, and that's exactly what Utgarda does, which is, it's super good if you're playing against Eldritch, if you have some like super billionaire rich playboy in your locals that can afford that kind of crap. That is not found at my locals though, but Banishing is still super good, so I definitely want to run more than one of him. I also have 1 Nidog. So you have all these cool light and dark generators, and then you have the not so good generators that are not light or dark, but you sort of need them because you want monstrosities to work. That's basically the idea here. But Nidog is at least cheaper than the other generators. He only costs 1 to use his effect, and he can negate entire summons. They have to be inherent though, but you can stop a full pendulum summon with him theoretically if you have a pendulum matchup or something. And he can stop link summons as well, so that's cool, I guess. But yeah, Nidog he's all right. He's the most all right generator that there is. And then you have the good ones, and then you have the not so good ones. But I'm starting to think that Naglfar is actually one of the better ones. But that's just because Lightning Storm's a card now. Once again, there's none of that in my locals. We're all cheap. But he can stop Twin Twisters as well. And he is borderline unstoppable if you pair him with a card that I side called Tyrant's Tirade, because his effect doesn't activate. And if that card says tribute 2 monsters, then nobody can activate anything anywhere on the field or in the hand. And it is almost impossible to get over him if you can't activate things, and he can stop himself from if you can't activate monster effects, that is, and he can't be destroyed once per turn. So I do like Naglfar a lot now, especially now that he can be summoned in attack mode with Lobster. So I won one of him. And then you got one Develgus, who's, he's just useless 99% of the time. But the 1% of the time that he is not useless, you are going to be so happy you have him in your deck, because he can summon like 3 or 4 Generators out of the field under optimal conditions, whereas you would otherwise have a super bricked up hand. So I definitely recommend keeping him in your deck, even if you're not running a super large list like mine. And that's it for the Generators. I'm running 14, I think, and only 3 of them are normal summonable. So that's a lot of Generators. But like I said, my deck is larger than your average deck, so it's not as noticeable to me. And the deck is still super consistent and getting to its field spell. So that's the number that I like to run. But obviously, custom tailor that to whatever you need for your deck size. We have an honorary generator, Trias Hierarchia. This is what you use to get rid of your unwanted tokens at the end of your opponent's turn, is how I like to do it. And the smarter you play and the more you shut your opponent out, and the more calamities that you summon, and by more, just summon 1 calamities, it's a continuous effect. Anyway, if you do that, you're probably not going to need a lot of those tokens that you summon, and Trias Hierarchia is great for that. It lets you summon any number of fairies up to 3, and you get cool effects depending on the number that you summon. You always at least get to summon him if you summon 1, so he's a free rank 9 on the board. And then you can also destroy a card if you tribute 2, and then Pot of Greed if you tribute 3. So he is a fantastic card. Just make sure you Xyz summon with him, because he will be banished otherwise. And we got 3 Condemned Witch, which is a fantastic little card that came out in Flames of Destruction, I think. And it was, or was it, let's see. No, Soul Fusion. Sorry, Soul Fusion. I'm super sorry if I said like a super stupid set like chronologically, but I don't really pay attention to set names. But Condemned Witch is still a fantastic card. It can search a forbidden quick play spell, which is going to be even more amazing when the new one comes out. I highly recommend checking that card out if you haven't already. But it'll just search Forbidden Chalice till then, and that's like an impermanence, which is still really good. But more importantly, in the main phase of your opponent's turn, he can summon the Lobster out, and the Lobster can give you a rank 9. So I really like this card at 3. And continuing on with random normal summons, I have 3 Lone Fires. I like running 3 still, even though we now have an in-archetype Lone Fire, because you can just summon 1 and get them all out of your deck anyway. It's not that bad still. Even if it does get ashed, you can still get your, they're not going to ash their boss stage now. So I do like the triple Lone Fire still. Also, it can summon Mardell in attack mode, and summoning things in attack mode is surprisingly hard to do in this deck. And then finally, this is the package that I had to proxy for, and I didn't play at the tournament and still won with, but it is absolutely unquestionable in my mind that the deck is better with this guy in the deck. You do have to run the 1 Garnet. It is a true Garnet because you can't really get it out of your hand if you draw it, but it is still worth it because this guy is a 1-card combo that leads to you ending on a Jormungandr and a Calamities, which I'll talk about later. I'll do the combo in a video as well later if you guys want to see that. And there's also a budget version where you can do it with just the Lone Fire and the Monstrosity in hand, which I haven't seen a lot of people showcase in channels, so I'm also more than happy to show a budget version of this combo, but this guy is super powerful on the deck, so I highly recommend dropping some of that stimulus check money if you're looking to buy some cards for your generator deck on Girsu the Orcus Mekk Knight. That's it for the monsters, and then we got the spells. Of course, you have to run the triple boss stage. It's what makes the deck work. It gives you the tokens when you summon generators on your opponent's turn, and it summons generators on your opponent's turn when they draw. It also summons generators on your turn when they draw, but that's harder to do because they don't have a draw phase on your turn. But this is, I run 3. That's how you play generators. You run 3 of these, and then the rest is up to you. I like 3 generator boss quest because I have an absurdly high chance of seeing a level 9 in my hand. I run like 11 level 9s or something. Well, 11 generator level 9s, and I also run the Lobsters, but you probably don't want to put those back with this card. But you can if you have to. And this just gives you 2 spell traps from your deck, which is super amazing. You can get the generator boss stage that is so important to the deck, and you can get some of the other stuff. There aren't that many good generator spell traps, though, but there are a few good ones, which we are running. And of course, you got terraforming. It's a field spell deck, so you need the terraforming. I don't know what else to say about that. This is the big power play card of the deck. It's World Legacy Monstrosity, and it just summons 2 level 9s from your deck. If you have a level 9 already, they just need to be different type and attribute of the thing that you're targeting. And the 2 things that you summon can be the same type and attribute. It doesn't matter. They just need a different name. But this is probably the most powerful spell of the deck because it's just an automatic rank 9, which is therefore an automatic calamities. I got some draw spells here as well. They're all good for different things. Dark World Dealings is more of a way to proc the boss stage on your turn, which is a lot more difficult to do than proccing it on your opponent's turn, like I said, since they don't have a draw phase on your turn. But I do like the Dark World Dealings at 2 because it's not hard once per turn, and I really don't mind seeing it. It's not that bad to dig into your deck. I've even had that card ashed a few times just because they're that afraid of a level 9 getting dumped onto the field. Kujikiri Curse is just a trade-in. I guess it's slightly better than a trade-in because you can use things on the field. But why would you do that when you can use things in your hand? And Pot of Avarice is more here for the recycling. It's super easy to go through your Hars and your Gardas. You go through them real fast in this deck, and Pot of Avarice just ensures that you don't run out of those if you see it. I got 1 Forbidden Chalice. You can search it off of Condemned Witch, so that's why I run it. That's the only reason why I run it. But it is a good card. World Legacy Succession is necessary for the Girsu combo, so that is why I run that. And that is it for the spells. For the traps, we'll start off with 3 Generator Boss Fight. This is the best Generator trap card, so it is the secondary target for that Generator Boss quest that we're running. And it's basically just Metaverse. It activates the field spell, but you can use it from the grave, and well, you can use the field spell from the grave, that is. You can't use this from the grave. It'd be cool if you could, but you can't. And then it causes your opponent to draw a card, which immediately procs the boss stage, which is super awesome. So I do like 3 of those. We got 1 boss fight. I'm only running 1 because it's a continuous trap, and having more of these doesn't do anything for you. It is searchable, but it's just a tribal called by the grave. Besides the Dark World Dealings, it's also the only way you have to get that World Armor out of your hand if you were unlucky enough to draw it, which is pretty cool. So I do like this card a lot. It's saved me a lot of games that I would otherwise not have won. I play 1 Metaverse, which is good to chain to things when your opponent is searching, because you can just get a free search or free special summon yourself. So great card. It also, you want to run as many ways to get to boss stage as possible. I'm also running 3 Solemn Judgment because I am fearful of things like Lightning Storm and Twin Twister and scary monsters. And gosh, what else is bad? Anything that's bad, Solemn Judgment stops. So I do highly recommend those. Evenly Matched is another super awesome thing to Solemn Judgment, because it is not that hard to bait out a hard negate, and hard is your only hard form of negation for like spell traps. And we got 3 Infinite Impermanence. This is the only hand trap I run. However, you could run Ash Blossom as well if you wanted to. A cool thing you can do with Ash Blossom that you can't do with Impermanence, even though I do think Impermanence is strictly better right now, because it can negate spells and traps and columns, which this deck sorely needs, and it can't be called by the grave. Excuse me. Cool thing you can do with Ash Blossom is you can normal summon it and then synchro off into the Geomathnic Final Sigma, which is a powerhouse of a card, and it's unaffected by everything, and it does double battle damage. So if you wanted a budget option instead of Impermanence, I'd highly recommend running triple Ash Blossom and going that route. And then I got 2 World Legacy Awakens, which is a tech I like very much. I actually didn't think of the extra deck monster that I summoned with this. I saw it on some British YouTuber, which I wish I could remember his name, but I can't. I'll have to find it and link it in the description. But I have a cool extra deck card that I will go over when the time comes for that. But that is it for the main deck. It's like 54 cards, like I said, super huge, but very consistent. I never once didn't have boss stage out first turn when I was playing in the locals. For the extra deck, I have 2 Jormungandr. Many people only like to run one. Run one if you want to, but I go through one naturally with my Girsu combo, and I would like to have one for later if I need it. Jormungandr is a very underrated card if you ask me in the deck. Many people don't like him because he draws your opponent a card, but they forget that you also have to give him a card then, and he can be activated as a quick effect, so you could like flip a trap up and then chain his effect and then equip the trap that's already resolving to him anyway. And your opponent has to give up a card naturally, so you're basically plussing for free. And if Har's out of the field, they have to give up a second monster. So, you're looping your opponent from 1 every single time you activate his effect, and you're summoning a generator from deck if you're using it on your turn. So he is such a powerful card. Do not underestimate Jormungandr. I think he is one of the better rank 9s that you can summon. And we have the best rank 9 you can summon, True King of all Calamities. He stops your opponent for the entire turn. So I don't see a reason in running 3 of them. If you have to stop your opponent for 4 turns in a row, something is wrong with your deck, and Calamities is not going to fix it. So 2 is fine, really, unless you're running like Extravagance or something. We got, I'll show both of these at once. We have Phantom Fortress Enter Blathnir, which is very fun to say, and Infinitrack Earthslicer, which is significantly less fun to say, but these are what I'm using for like spot removal. Earthslicer can get rid of lots of things at once, and Enter Blathnir is a bit more nuanced, I guess. It can get rid of things that can't be targeted or destroyed. It can also hand loop, it can also de-crow, it can also banish the top card of your deck. I don't know why you would ever use that effect, but he can do a lot of cool stuff, so I highly recommend running him, because he's the only consistent way the deck has to out things like Mekk-Knight Crusadia Abramax. I got 9 Lives Cat, which is just an adorable card to play with Hela, and you have room, so I mean I'm running it. Link, Karibo, Ling Cross, Lieb, and this is the only proxy I have left. But I didn't have a lot of these cards until, I didn't have Ling Cross either, so when I did the tournament, I did not play the Girsu package because of that, but this is all required for the Girsu combo, which I'm more than happy to show you guys if this video gets enough interest. So, if you don't want to play a $120 package, you get 4 spots in your extra deck opened up for free. Run some Super Poi targets or something, I don't know. This is the card I was talking about with World Legacy Awakens. You can summon the Bujin Link, and then the Bujin Link's effect will activate, letting you summon a level 9 from your hand and graveyard, and then immediately Xyz summon, which is a Calamities on your opponent's turn, which is super awesome. I really need to link that dude's YouTube channel so you can see how he plays Generators. Also, British people are just super fun to listen to. So that's why I'm running World Legacy Awakens with the Bujin Link. And it's, another Girsu target for things if you already opened up the monstrosity. And finally, we got the BLS link, which it's impossible to not make him with his superpower form in this deck with all the rank 9s you have, or all the level 9s you have, excuse me. So if you can afford him, I'd run him. And then, I don't know if anybody else has thought of this, but I really like the idea of running Galatea and Girsu if you're running the Girsu package. Because I kept thinking to myself, well, what if, with all these hand traps, what if the Girsu gets ashed or something? I still want him to be useful. Also, it's not like Lone Fire where you cycle all of the Lone Fires out of your deck. You can't do that with Girsu, so you're going to draw Girsu later at some point, so you want something to do with them. So I figured I could throw Galatea and Girsu in there to get at least some spot removal out of my normal summons when I otherwise just wouldn't have a good thing to do with him when I summon him. So I am trying these guys out, though I haven't actually summoned them yet, but they are theoretically good. And that's the deck. Like I said, I'm more than happy to do combo tutorials, especially like the budget versions if you guys want to see those. But let me know how you guys, or what you guys think of the deck and what you guys think about me not talking about World Chalice all the time. I do play some other decks, but yeah, that's the video, and I'll see you guys later, maybe.